Hello everybody and welcome to my general walkthrough video for the Eastern Classics tournament. We will be playing a mixture of 3 courses: Gokasho Bay, Namhae Cliffs and Shiruba Springs. I think it's a very interesting mix, to be honest. We've got a couple of par 4s that will be must eagle, especially in certain wind directions. We have some difficult par 5s and a slightly easier par 5 as well. And some very interesting routes on the par 3s. So I do think you're going to see a range of scores, and they will be different according to what wind directions we're going to have. As always, I'm going to put the overviews up for each of the 9 holes in turn, with my suggested routes and general elevations for all 3 tees. Bear in mind though, these are only suggestions and you will need to tweak the elevations and routes and approaches according to what clubs you're using, what balls you want to use, and the all-important factor of what the wind is doing in terms of strength and direction. Before we get started, if you are new here to the BK Golf Clash YouTube channel, please do consider becoming a subscriber. It is totally free. If you're enjoying the content, please hit the thumbs up on the video, and if you hit the bell button as well, you will get notified when we upload content or go live. Plenty of stuff coming up next week for the Eastern Classics tournament. So let's get started by looking at the first hole. So we begin with a par 4 for our first hole, and this is going to be, if the wind allows, a very important hole to get an eagle on. Any form of tailwind, we've got to go aggressive and bounce on that island there on the white arrows, using some topspin to get over the water and get down to the green area. Most likely here you're going to be applying topspin so that your second bounce beyond the water is in the rough, and then it will roll you out to just about to the fringe area for an easy wedge. Don't want to use too much topspin here, because if you clear the rough completely and have too much topspin on, then you will go out of bounds beyond the green. I speak from experience. We do need obviously some power balls to get there. Going to be a power 3 ball most likely for rookies, but then pro, expert and master power 5 ball is advisable here, otherwise you will need copious amounts of overpower. If we get any form of headwind, then that is going to be a really big risk, in which case I would go on the black line. Playing with topspin and some side spin to the left on the drive, 10% extra. That will then leave, if you get to that corner of fairway, a downhill shot with your short iron, which I would play as a general rule 30% downhill. But in all cases, 10% extra on the drive. If you are playing expert or master going with a lot of tailwind, I would be thinking of 20% on the white line just to count for the extra push. You don't want to overshoot the green and go out of bounds. So it's important to play aggressively if we can and get a very good eagle to start the round on hole number 1. Second hole, and it's a par 5. And going from the first hole, which really is a must eagle, we need to eagle this one really, but that is a case of just fighting to get the eagle on here. This is a very difficult hole. It is long as well. Power 3 ball minimum required for all tees, and there really is only one line of attack here. We need a drive with topspin. So for rookies, big topper is going to be excellent here, and probably for low-level pro players as well. High-level players will be using definitely the Thor's Hammer or the Apocalypse. Go with whichever one gives you the most topspin. We're wanting to bounce before the rough where the red cross is situated there and get ourselves over that big snowy patch and as far down that fairway as possible along the first black arrow. 0% elevation in crosswind for me, but in direct tailwind and also headwind I would be thinking of 10% here. And if you've got a lot of tailwind, then back up your target slightly. The last thing you want to do is go directly into the rough on your first bounce. From there, second shot going to be played with a 180-yard wood club. And I like the horizon here purely because of the top spin as well as the ball guide, because it's difficult to get the pace right on this one. Going to have to go with plenty of top spin and also some side spin to the right, as well as some right curl. If you don't want to use the horizon, because we know it's not the most accurate club in the world, then the big dog or the cataclysm is good here as well. 10% for the second shot, and the idea is just to get over there, and down. If you can get onto the green, then that's awesome, but if not, just lay up before the fringe and have a very easy wedge. Be careful that you don't go too mad with the topspin though. You can overshoot and run into the rough on the back of the green. So we need to secure the eagle on this par 5. Not really going to be seeing many albatrosses, if at all, on this difficult hole. First of the par 3s, and it's the legendary pot bunker shootout from Gokasho Bay. 10% general elevation. I know some people do play this one at 20 as well, so just go with what works for you. But for me, most of the time I'm playing it 10%, even though sometimes I will be using max numbers instead of mid, especially from second tee. Most common route is the white arrow here, and that is bouncing to the left of the pot bunker to get a good landing position. You will need some backspin and some side spin to the right. I would suggest at minimum side spin 2 is required here. And as I said, just bounce there and the ball will kick to the right and roll towards the pin. This is a difficult green, to be honest. If you are short, the ball will roll back down to the front of the green, about 16-17 yards away. But also, if you are also too long, it can just veer down to the side. You won't be in trouble, but it's a difficult one to get a hole-in-one on with this one, to be honest. Sniper for pro and expert. Obviously, Master Division going to be playing with a driver unless you want to use a max distance sniper from further back. Rookie is going to be most likely with a long iron, but you can use a wood club as well. 2 alternate landing spots to mention here. The red cross before the bunker, although I don't feel this offers a consistent landing spot, or at least not as consistent as the one to the left of the sand. The other one, which we saw a couple of times, and I think it was from Rookie in the last tournament this was used, was the light blue cross just bottom right of the green there. Again, you've got to be careful you're not bouncing on any slopes downward into the bunker, because they will give the ball a very nasty kick one way or another. So it's going to be difficult to get a hole-in-one here, but just play it sensibly and take care. If you are adjusting into that big pot bunker, it will affect your shot, so you may need to compensate as well. And we stay with Gokasho Bay for the 4th hole. This is a par 4, very, very good chance of an eagle. In most wind directions, even if we do get a little bit of headwind, I will be playing the white line. 10% on the drive, bouncing on that thin strand of fairway there in the centre of the diagram where the blue cross is. Going to go with as much topspin possible and as much side spin to the right possible as well. Add in a bit of right curl if you can, and you should end up in short iron range. Very good shot here with the short iron if you get far enough. I will be playing a slider here, 0%, but then again, if you do have level crosswind on your second shot, might want to play it 5 or 10, just to take care of the extra wind push. If you don't fancy going aggressively in headwind, the black line is there as an alternate on the left-hand side. A little bit of top spin and some right spin. If you want to try and cut the corner on the rough with some right curl on your driver, then you can do so. Once again, I will be playing it 10%. From there, the black line, it will be a sniper or alternative wood club to the green. 0% general elevation for that as well. But again, if we do have horrendous headwind on your second shot, then I'd be tempted to go 10% and make sure you've got your ball guide comfortably over those 2 greenside bunkers. But like I say, crosswind or tailwind, this is going to be a very, very good chance for an eagle. We have a Namhae Cliffs par 3. Now, general elevation I'm having as 20%, so 20% downhill. Rookie division, going to be using a long iron, as will pro and expert. Make sure if you are playing pro or expert though, depending what the wind is doing, you may well need the Goliath, otherwise the Grizzly. You will be in between clubs if you are adjusting in certain wind strength and directions. Master Division players going to be with the sniper here, as this par 3 is not overly long. Most likely going to be bouncing where the red cross is. There is a little bowl there in that piece of fairway that gives you a fairly consistent bounce to the green. Be careful that you don't get too giddy with side spin here. The ball will kick to the right, and if you are right of pin, the ball will roll off to the right hand side of the green. So do not come in too hot and do not miss to the right on this one. All about getting the backspin right. You will need a few bars of backspin here depending what the wind is doing as well. Blue cross there is, of course, for those that fancy it, a rough bump just to the right of the bunker there, to the left hand side of the green. It is a good opportunity, mainly suited for kind of expert and master players. I wouldn't really be recommending this for rookie division. I'd be going with the bounce over here. But if that suits your play style, then by all means go for it. I know some people have had some very, very good success here with the rough bump, because it just takes out the inconsistent bounce if you're not as accurate on your adjustment, and also it takes out the secondary bounce wind effect as well. Okay, this is where the fun begins. There is some interesting moments on this hole. It is fraught with danger, really, to be honest. You are going to see a fair few balls going into the water, either before or after the green. 20% on the drive. We will need top spin here. I always play out to the right-hand side, because I don't think the left is any good. It's just too risky, to be honest, and there's very, very inconsistent bounces. You will need some left spin as well, but we want to try and get as far up that first piece of fairway on the right towards the tip of the white arrow as possible. Obviously, if we go too far, we'll be in the rough, or even worse, down the cliff. So it's all about getting the top spin right. This is a hole I feel that we will benefit from spending a practice token or two. Bear in mind the wind direction you get from the tee will be slightly different to the second shot due to the direction that we play the hole from. So let's assume that we can go full blast for the second shot. Will be the white arrow, 0% elevation. I like the Guardian here with the backspin. If you can play directly onto the fairway before the green. If not, then rough bump it out. Most likely you are going to need a 180-yard wood club. So the Cataclysm or the Big Dog, very useful here. Be careful though. You may want to use some power balls just to make the second shot easier. Otherwise, it's very difficult. If your target is aiming to the bottom of the cliff, obviously you are going to lose distance on your shot, so you will have to overpower accordingly. But bear in mind, if you are aiming up there on the island itself where the green is, you're going to add distance to your shot, so it's very, very easy to put too much overpower on here or not adjust enough, and you will end up either in the rough or in the water. This is quite a technical shot, and I would advise spending a token or two just to test how much overpower you need. If we do have direct headwind, we're not going to get over there. It's as simple as that. So we have to lay up. Minus 10% for the layup, the blue line with the long iron with accuracy and ball guide will be good, and then that will leave you a short iron to the pin. 30% elevation here, and it's not easy to sink this one. So once again, we're not going to be seeing any albatrosses, if at all, I don't think. So just play very sensibly here, practice if you need to, get your eagle and move on. Few options here. We have the Shiruba Springs par 3 for hole number 7. 20% general elevation. Let's talk about the front tee first. So the rookie tee is just slightly to the left, so we will most likely be playing on the blue cross. There is a rough bump there, but for true rookie players and true rookie clubs, it is a little bit risky, so I will be playing the bounce over there with a long iron. You will need a couple of bars of left spin as well, and then we're just taking the ball to the centre of the green. There's no pin marked on this diagram, sadly, but it is where the tip of the white arrow is. Pro and Expert and Master, the tees are slightly more to the right. You can see the Pro and Expert tee there. Here is where I will be recommending the rough bump. It is the best chance for a hole-in-one, but bear in mind, if you are adjusting with wind from left to right, you will be adjusting into the bunker, so you may want to counter it with a little push-up or some pull angle so that you don't lose distance on your shot. But the rough bump is the best chance at a hole-in-one because it takes out that fairly lengthy second bounce and reduces an awful lot of wind effect. White line I've put there for master players from the third tee. Again, 20%, and there is a nice bounce over there on the island. Obviously a wind 5 ball is preferred as always with master and par 3. Although, to be honest, I've done pretty well with Centurion or a Kingmaker in some instances as well. So, a few routes to choose from there. The final thing I will say is there is a very, very scary rough bump for master players on the top of the bunker, top left, but the thin patch of rough is very, very thin indeed. It's not one for me. I'd rather just take a safe birdie here, but as I always say, go with what you feel confident with. If you want to give it a go, and you feel comfortable going with it, then it is a very, very good chance for a hole-in-one on hole number 7. Okay, final par 4. Again, we're sticking with Shiruba Springs. We've got a choice of 2 that's displayed and a third option which you can guess, which is not displayed. Let's just quickly mention it. It is, of course, the send it option. It's out to the far right of the diagram on that patch of fairway, to the right of the first black arrow. You will, of course, need a berserker and a decent amount of tailwind. So we really, I think, just looking at expert and above here, because most likely in pro, the wind push is not going to be enough to propel the ball far enough down there to roll out of the rough. But it's there as an option, 20% elevation, but obviously you will probably need some overpower as well as a driver with a load of topspin. But it is there, like I say, will be a very good eagle if you can pull it off. But onto the routes that are shown here, the black line first, and that is bouncing over that little patch of rough in the middle with backspin on your driver, 20% downhill. And the idea is we just want to lay up before the rough where the tip of that first black arrow is shown there. From there we will have a sniper rough bump, and I say sniper obviously for rookie players. If you have the sniper, it is an advantage. If not, you may have to just change your route slightly here. But the thing is, with the sniper we have excellent ball guide, and it is a rough bump to the pin from here and a very, very good chance. Plus 30% downhill shot for the second shot. If you don't fancy that, or you've not got the clubs for it, the left side also is a very interesting approach. Once again, 20% on the drive, bouncing over with a decent amount of topspin. From there, we are going to be playing with a wood club to the green. I've put 0% as a suggested elevation here, but as I always say at the beginning of the videos, you may need to tweak it slightly once you know what wind you're dealing with, and that will vary also with what wind resistance ball that you are using. But this is a very, very interesting par 4, and like I say, you've got to choose your route carefully and give yourself a best chance at an eagle on hole number 8. And finally onto hole 9, which is a par 5, which is actually not as difficult as it looks, to be honest, and we've definitely had worse par 5s to finish a tournament round. Green arrow first, and that is the rookie tee. As you can see, it is set to the right hand side, so you've got a much straighter line to the green. All we need to do is get some distance on our driver with topspin and hit perfect. Obviously, if we do have a bad great left or great right, it does risk the rough. The wood club second shot will be also 10% extra. So a nice easy line for the rookies. Just concentrate, get some distance down there, but at the same time make sure you're hitting perfect as well. Power 2 or power 3 ball will certainly help you. Pro, expert and master is where it does get interesting, because we have some options here. Let's talk about the white line first. There is a very interesting aiming point there with one of the trees up on the right hand side of the fairway, which is a very good reference for a power hook. Obviously you need to go with load of topspin and either left or right spin depending on which way the wind is blowing. But in tailwind and tail crosswind, this is a very good option. Obviously if you do have the apocalypse, this will be a huge advantage here. So you will see a division between the pro players, between those that do have APOC and those that don't, because I do feel it is a very, very good reference. However, I'm not ruling out that the shot is impossible with any other driver. It's just a lot easier when you do have the APOC. If you don't fancy the power hook, which I must say, if it goes well, will leave you very, very close to the green if you get your landing point and your spins right for a nice short iron, then you can just play straight forward. That will be 10% on the drive with the black arrow, going with a driver with accuracy and ball guide. I tend to like the Thor's hammer as well, to be honest, because you do have ball guide and topspin in a decent level. And if all goes well, you're just aiming for the corner of the fairway there. Get yourself there. The centre of the diagram is going to leave you a sniper second shot. 10% extra on the second shot, and even though we're playing with the sniper, I do still feel if you can get a good landing position here, that is a decent chance for an albatross finish. Thank you very much for watching the general walkthrough, everybody. I do hope you found it useful, and if you've got any thoughts on the holes and if you're looking forward to them, let me know in the comments section down below. And also, if there's any routes that you feel would be interesting to share with the community, let us all know in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you very, very soon for the Eastern Classics Tournament. Bye for now.